Maybe you've heard about neobanks in the news, but here's the funny thing. They're actually usually not banks. Today, we're going to compare neobanks to traditional banks. Neobanks are online-only, mobile-first financial services that walk and talk a lot like a bank. They provide services like checking accounts, savings accounts, and ability to spend money and send money. Maybe you've heard of One, Vero, or Chime. The thing is, these kinds of apps are not actually banks. They work with chartered banks in order to provide FDIC insurance to their customers' accounts. So let's talk about what neobanks do really well. First and foremost, they're very technologically friendly. When you open the app, you might see that the neobank only does a few different things, but it does them really well. So you'll have your checking account, savings account, maybe a ways to send money, but it's all going to be really streamlined and easy to use. For example, Bella's checking account gives a random percentage of cash back, anywhere from 5% to 200% on randomly selected purchases. Bella doesn't charge monthly, overdraft, or ATM fees, and it currently covers fees charged by out-of-network ATMs. The other great thing about neobanks is that there are a number of them that cater to really specific communities. So whether you're part of the Black community, Asian community, LGBTQ community, or maybe you're a person with a disability, there are neobanks out there that are catering to your specific needs. First Boulevard, for example, is designed for Black Americans. Taking a customized approach to financial guidance, this neobank focuses on building generational wealth for Black businesses and communities. Daylight caters its mobile-first banking services to the LGBTQ community by allowing customers the ability to bank by their chosen name, even if it differs from their IDs. This service can protect transgender Americans from being dead-named, or called by a name given at birth that doesn't reflect their gender identity. And if you're environmentally conscious, there are also a number of neobanks out there that try to divest from fossil fuels entirely, which makes them pretty different from a lot of traditional banks. Despite having the word bank in their name, neobanks are not banks, and they're not pretending to be. It's a lot easier for them to partner with FDIC-insured institutions in order to provide insurance to their customers, because the process of becoming an official bank is really long and expensive. Neobanks are able to be a lot more scrappy and nimble and get the ball rolling faster by partnering with banks instead of trying to become a bank themselves. Neobanks have a lot of great additional special features and benefits as well. Probably the number one great special feature is that since neobanks don't have to staff or run facilities like brick and mortar physical branches, they're able to pass those savings along to their consumers, usually in the form of higher interest rates than traditional banks. Here's another example. One offers customers the ability to organize their money into sub-accounts called pockets, which can be single or joint accounts. Pockets can be used to earn 3% APY for balances that are rounded up and saved from debit card purchases, and 1% APY on regular savings. One also offers a low-cost line of credit at 12% APR, which is fairly unique among neobanks. They also tend to have really great remote customer service options, since they don't have those physical locations. So customers can often do online chat, reach out through social media, or call centers a lot longer than traditional working hours. Finally, there are sometimes little benefits like 2-day early direct deposit. Features like these make neobanks really appealing compared to traditional banks. Since neobanks are so easy to use, they can be great for just the average consumer. However, it tends to be early adopters, those people who really care about new technology and financial services, who care about opening their neobank accounts first. Neobanks tend to be newer companies though, and with that comes a lot of inherent risk, just like with any new business. Take a look at Simple. Simple was a neobank that was really popular with its users, but it was acquired in early 2021 by BBVA. And when it was acquired, it ended up losing a lot of the features that made it popular as a neobank. So what are the perks and benefits of sticking with a traditional bank over a neobank? First and foremost, it's likely going to be much more convenient to have a traditional bank because you're going to have that in-person physical branch experience. In addition, maybe you have a really long customer history with that bank, which means that bank is going to be much more likely to offer you mortgages or a credit card or an auto loan or a personal loan. In addition, they have the traditional deposit accounts that a neobank would have, like checking and savings, but they also might have deposit accounts like certificates of deposit. So what are some of the cons of traditional brick and mortar style banks compared to neobanks? Probably first and foremost is that they often don't have as great of interest rates as neobanks, simply because they have to spend money on operating and staffing their facilities. Second of all, they tend to have not as great technology. When you look at their apps, they tend to be a lot clunkier, a lot less streamlined, a lot more menus to open, and a lot more products and services to wade through, as opposed to a neobank, which is probably going to be pretty simple and to the point. In a recent NerdWallet study, we discovered that a lot more people have been searching for neobanks over traditional banks over the past few years, which may signal people are starting to look more into neobanks over traditional banks. So if you're looking to open a bank account, whether you're considering a neobank, a traditional brick and mortar bank, or some combo of the two, you're going to want to do your research because no two banks are the same. Some banks have really great in-person customer service. Others have a large ATM network or a really streamlined app, or maybe low or no fees or a high interest rate. All those factors are really important to consider to see what works best for you in your life. Ultimately, you're the only one who can make the decision about what bank works best for you and your lifestyle. My name is Chanelle Bessette, and I'm a banking writer with NerdWallet. We have tons of in-depth reviews about neobanks and traditional banks on our site. If you feel like you learned something today, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe.